Welcome everybody, Channel 1 broadcasting 50 short laps here at Iowa Speedway tonight in the Triple Crown Series. Sprint cars are on the docket tonight. Just 14 drivers tonight for 50 short laps. My name is Justin Rose. Now joining me tonight in the booth is Evan Pasoko. Evan, we got quite the battle here. Alan Bender is in the house. If he runs the rest of the races, he does have a shot at the title considering drop weeks in effect. What are your thoughts quickly before we roll away under the gridding?
Obviously, sprint car is one of the most exciting cars to watch here on the iRacing Simulator. We're at the Iowa Speedway. I mean, a 0.8-mile track, so it's one of the bigger short tracks in the series, 50 laps you mentioned, so it's going to be a sprint, but for those guys up front, it's going to feel like a long night, and it should be a great race.
We have no time left on the clock. Let's start rolling to the grid here on the pole tonight. Last week's winner at the Milwaukee Mile, Alan Bender on the pole with a pole time of 21.468 seconds. And now starting to the outside of him is the number 3 car of Steve Linder.
Inside on row number 2 is going to be the number 2 of Vinny Sansone in the third starting position. Starting fourth is number 6 of David Cumbo Jr.
Inside row number 3 is going to be the 7 of Ray Follow. Starting outside of him is going to be the 5 of Kuhn Landry.
Starting 7th, row number 4 is the number 4, Ryan Steele. Starting 8th, the number 11 of Scott Kelly.
Inside row number 5 in the 9th spot, the 9 car, Denny Clark. And starting outside of him, the only female in the field, number 10, Leela Wilson.
Row 6 on the inside, the 11th starting position, the 12 of Donald Williams. Starting 12th to his right-hand side, the 8 of Marcus Dean.
Inside row number 7, last row on the field, number 13, Matt Burnt, and rounding out the field is number 14, PDJ Zeller. 14 cars stacked up here, 50 short laps here at Iowa. This is going to be a blast. 900 horsepower cars getting ready to fire off over 10,000 horsepower on the track as the Ford First Mustang pace car gets ready to make that hard left-hand turn. Alan Bender is looking towards the flagman, and he's actually going to hold the flag this time around. Usually at Iowa, Evan, we have just one pace lap, but tonight here in the sprint cars we have 2 pace laps.
Yeah, I guess the lights weren't on the pace car, so I was with you there waiting ready to go for the green flag. Maybe the safety officials just making sure the track is 100% again tonight. The Iowa Speedway, a 0.87-mile racetrack, and the 30,000 fans here, capacity crowd coming out tonight. They want the racetrack to be good so we can see a good race. So just any extra precautions, you see the number 7 car, but keeping the tire, or the 3 rather. I'm trying to get these numbers right. The 3 is Steve Linder, getting some heat in those tires possibly there off turn 2. But it looks like we are going to take the green flag this time around as they enter 3.
Let's press the rewind button. Here we go. Entering turn number 3, this progressive bank racetrack. 10 degrees on the bottom, 12 degrees in the middle, 14 on top. We're going to see some hard, fast-paced action. Here's the Ford First Mustang pace car. Turns on pit road. Green flag in the air here at Iowa Speedway. Alan Bender jumps right out to the lead. Vinny Sansone on the inside to Steve Linder going into 1. Sansone's going to take the spot. Can Steve Linder get the run on the outside? Not looking like he can get it done. He's actually falling back into the clutches of the 6 of David Cumbo Jr. Cumbo Jr. finished second last week at the Milwaukee Mile. Cumbo looking to make another strong here as we get underway. Everybody looks like they're pretty sorted out except till we get to the the 4 of Ryan Steele battling for the 6th spot. Takes the spot going into turn number 1. Evan, how are they doing from the back of the field?
Definitely, I was taking a look back here. We had a good battle with the 5 of Kuhn Landry and the 11 Scott Kelly. The 5 of Landry actually was able to hang on to it on the top side. It looks like the top may be the preferred line by a little bit. But if you throw it in there to that inside, we can see it work possibly. Still, now we're going to go side by side. This is for the 7th spot. It was the 10 car, Leela Wilson, looking on the inside of the 11 of Scott Kelly. Now here comes some other cars in it. The 12 of Ronald Williams in the battle along with Denny Clark, not too far behind. Leela Wilson dedicated to that bottom, trying to find a way around that 11. She pushes up off the corner, is going to pull back in line.
Almost a hospital wiggle there, looking almost 3 wide last time by, coming out of turn 2. Everybody single file through the corner. The fastest 2 cars on the track right now are up front. Pole center Alan Bender and the number 2 of Vinny Sansone. They're out by over a second over 3rd place Steve Linder. And everybody just trying to get through these early laps. Here's the 9 here, back here in the 11th spot. He had a hospital coming out of 4, definitely almost losing the handle on his car. These cars are one badass car with 950 horsepower and 1,500 pounds. Folks, that's more horsepower to weight ratio than a Formula One car. These cars are scary as hell to handle, Evan, and let me tell you what, we got a battle shaping up here for the 4th spot. Ryan Steele, David Cumbo. David Cumbo gives the position to Ryan Steele crossing the stripe. Move Ryan Steele up into the 4th spot. That
Caution
man is
flag
coming.
is going to fly here. Sorry to jump in. Lap 6, caution flag out on the racetrack, looking for the cause of that caution. But this is going to bring on our first caution of the night. I believe maybe the 10 of Leela Wilson. Yeah, definitely Leela Wilson, lap number 6 going into turn 1. She was up behind the 11 of Scott Kelly. I was kind of keeping an eye. She was really trying to use that inside line to make some passes, and she went to that inside. Oh, and the 11 maybe came down and chopped her off, and that sent the 10 of Leela Wilson around. She didn't make contact with the wall, but I do believe another car got in the wall trying to avoid her, being the number 9
of Denny
possibly.
Clark.
Yes.
The 9 of Denny Clark goes up high and gets into the wall, trying to avoid the spinning car of Leela Wilson. Leela Wilson, bad luck here at the start of the event here. Leela getting the chop put on her by the 11 of Scott Kelly. Scott Kelly, not a regular here in the top split races. Going to have to see if he can keep the car held together here as the race folds on. We are almost 10 laps in the books, folks. Just like that, we're 20% of the way done with the race, just about. Alan Binder, he's out front, and Vinny Sansone, he's in the 2nd spot. 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the racetrack is how their car numbers are stacking up. In the 3rd spot, again, your outside pole sitter tonight, Steve Linder. Guy on the move, though, the number 4 of Ryan Steele. We see him a lot in the Silver Crown cars, Evan. What a job, and he's actually been showing himself to be quite the wheelman lately.
And it always seems like he doesn't really help himself out in his starting position, and he always digs through the field, but he really just doesn't have enough time to get it done. We know he's a fast race car driver at this point in the race with an early caution after picking up about 3 spots after starting this race in the 7th position, now currently sitting 4th. This could help him to possibly get around Steve Linder, you mentioned, in that 3 car, and then possibly try to challenge with Sansone and Binder for those top 2 positions.
Definitely one other thing I want to point out here. Last night, we were broadcasting the Tour Mods on Channel 2 at the Thompson Motor Speedway. Promoter of the series, Eddie Walczyk, USTRA, and Double Clutch Marketing. They are the guys that helped put on tonight's event. Give special thanks to them. Eddie Walczyk pointed out to me, Evan, that Alan Binder made a mistake last night and took himself out of contention for last night's victory here in the sprint cars at Iowa.
And that's definitely another interesting piece to keep an eye on as the night continues on. Taking a look, I know that the 9 of Denny Clark currently down on pit road getting service done to his race car. Another car on the pit road is the 14 of Petey Zeller. That was 13th last time the field crossed the stripe. As for Leela Wilson, I don't believe she has come down, or she did come down pit road when the caution initially came out, but because she didn't catch that well, she just took 4 tires, so she's going to still be in contention, but at the back of the lead lap.
Definitely Petey J. Zeller taking 2 front tires on his race car. Denny Clark still sitting on pit road, getting some of that damage from getting into the wall hammered out. Tough luck for Denny. He was doing just fine, just an unfortunate victim of the accident between the 11 of Scott Kelly and the 10 of Leela Wilson. And just as I say that, Denny Clark does get back out there, but he is 1 lap down. He is going to be the only car 1 lap down here as we come by here, complete lap 10 next time by, as the pace car lights do not seem to be working here tonight, Evan.
Yeah, apparently not. Maybe it's a full moon out here at Iowa Speedway, but who knows. But right now, again, the top 5, Binder, Sansone, Linder, Steele, David Cumbo Jr. Out of those guys in the top 5, the only person sitting in those spots that didn't start there, again, Ryan Steele in that 4 car sitting 4. So keep an eye on him. And you mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4. That's their car numbers, but it looks like we're getting the green flag. There goes Binder, and we're back racing.
Single file restart this time by something unheard of here in the sprint cars. Green flag back in the air at Iowa Speedway. Bender gets a great jump. Sansone tries his best, but he's 3 car lengths back. Creeping up on the tail tank of the number 3 cars, the 4 of Ryan Steele. The man on the move. He's getting it done. He's putting the laps down, catching everybody he can. Starts to look to the outside. Can't quite get done there. He's about 1 car length back at the stripe. Going into turn 1 on the hammer. Ryan Steele closes within 3/4 of a car length. He's on the move, Evan.
Sideways off of turn number 2 with that 4 car, watching him come down the back straightaway, taking a look at his onboard, trying to get down to that yellow line, maybe a little bit closer than the other drivers. He got real close to the back bumper there at Linder, but he pushed up mid-corner when Linder was able to get back on the gas, and that's why he's going to drop to about 2 car lengths back more. But Steele's definitely going to look for that position for sure. Now Leela Wilson's going to go to the inside of the 8th of Marcus Dean to pick up the 10th position.
Leela Wilson trying to recover, see if she can run back through the field. Started back around the 10th spot, so she's right back where she started. After spinning here early on here at the running here at Iowa Speedway. Not a whole lot of action on the racetrack right now. The only battle seem to be shaping up on the racetrack right now is for the 3rd and 4th spot right now. Steve Linder, Ryan Steele, they're doing the best they can to hold each other off. Ryan Steele closes within a car length, drifts a little high. It looks like he loses about 1/4 of a car length. We'll have to see if he uses that outside momentum. This is a progressive banked racetrack, Evan. There are more than one line to get around here. I'm telling you, you can go all the way out to the wall here if you wanted to.
And definitely, it has everything to do with preference. You mentioned Alan Binder, definitely a fast race car driver, and that number 1 still sitting first. Now has about a 3/10 of a second lead over Sansone. Still taking a look. Ryan Steele hasn't been able to get back up to the back bumper of that 3 yet of Steve Linder. They are both about 1 second off of Binder sitting up front right now. You mentioned the 9, Denny Clark, also the only car 1 lap down at this point in the race. Pretty much keeping up with pace, but he's slightly behind this field by a good margin. So his car's not totaled, but he's having a little bit of trouble getting some speed through the corners, but he should be all right. But he's not going to be able to make that lap back, unfortunately. So that's a tough break for that 9 team you mentioned. Just an unfortunate bystander in that incident that involved the 10 of Leela Wilson.
Definitely, laps are winding down already. We're coming up on completing lap 17 here, looking to have about 33 laps to go here in the short 50-lap affair. Ryan Steele on the move, closest within to about 3/4 of a car length, almost half a car length out of 2. Steele looking high, not going to go there. He's actually looking to the bottom again, trying to clip that apron and see if he gets to run. Drifts high, not going to do it. He is driving that car like a madman. If you watch him here on the in-car, he is just twitching that wheel every which way he can to keep that car going straight. These cars are not very easy to drive again as he's working the wheel off of 2. What a job he's doing to keep that car straight. He is doing everything he can to run up on the tail tank of the 3 car.
Definitely taking a look. He might have made up a little bit of time that last time through turns 3 and 4. But it looks like maybe the 3 of Steve Linder might be a little bit stronger in 1 and 2 as they come through this time by. Oh, and the 4 Ryan Steele sideways onto the apron on the back straightaway off 2. He's going to hang on to it for now. But all that ground he just made up is going to go away as he gets back up to speed. He's going to get passed by the 12 of Ronald Williams and drop back to the 7th spot.
Tough luck for Ryan Steele. Great save by him. Almost put it down on the inside wall. Trying to hold on now for the 7th spot. Scott Kelly in the 11 really digging hard. Coming deep, almost side by side out of 2. Steele, he's very loose. I watched him drift right up to the wall. Trying to catch a slide in the middle of 1 and 2 that time by. Twitches again a little bit coming out of 4. These guys are clicking them down. 21 down. 29 to go, Evan. I'm telling you, these guys are hauling ass around here at Iowa Speedway.
Definitely last lap time by your leader, Alan Binder, a 21.6. To put that in perspective, that's only 2/10 off of their gridding time, and actually 2/10 quicker than the fastest lap that we saw in warm-up. So as these tires get a little bit of heat in them, they definitely get a lot more speed, and that's why they're running such consistently fast laps. Binder now has a 6/10 of a second lead over Sansone, and it's another 7/10 back to Steve Linder in that 3rd spot. And then Ryan Steele, you mentioned, almost put it into the inside wall. He did a good piece of driving to keep it off there. He's already starting to move back up to the bumper of the 12 of Ronald Williams and try to take back 1 spot to get into the 6th.
Coming up here in just a lap and a half here is going to be halfway in just a short affair. 25 down almost, 25 to go. I'm telling you, Evan, we don't know if we're going to see a battle for the lead here as Bender is slowly walking away from the two of Vinny Sansone. Bender dominated last week at the Milwaukee Mile until a late race caution ended the race. He had almost a half-track lead over David Cumbo Jr., who currently resides in the 4th spot. He finished second last week at the Milwaukee Mile. John Wesley, here we go, halfway down, halfway to go. Here is your full field rundown. Out front still, your pole sitter, the number 1 of Alan Bender. In the 2nd spot is going to be the 2 of Vinny Sansone. In the 3rd spot, the outside pole sitter for tonight, Steve Linder. 2nd place last week at the Milwaukee Mile, worked himself up to the 4th position. The 6 of David Cumbo Jr. The 5 of Kuhn Landry rounds out the top 5. The 12 of Ronald Williams, he is in the 6th spot. Closing up on him is going to be the 4 of Ryan Steele. Out in the 8th spot, the 11 car, Scott Kelly. Ray Farlow back up to the 9th spot. He's in the 7 car. Back in the top 10 after early race cautions, the number 10 of Leela Wilson. Outside the top 10, your last 4 cars, the 13 of Matt Burnt, the 8 of Marcus Dean, 14 Petey Zeller, and rounding out the field, 10 laps down, parked it for the night, Danny Clark, after getting in the wall after trying to avoid the spinning car of Leela Wilson.
Side by side for the 6th spot, it is the 4 Ryan Steele to the inside of the 12 of Ronald Williams in turns 3 and 4. The 4 trying to make it stick on the bottom, can't quite get it done for now. Ronald Williams is going to lead the lap, but Steele still has an inside position going into turn 3, and then they also have the 11 of Scott Kelly right behind them, and then the 5 of Kuhn Landry sitting in the 5th spot, also not too far ahead of these guys. Steele really trying to get it done. He's still there on the inside. Can he get it done going into 3? Goes way down to the yellow line. Slides up in front of the 12. Ronald Williams with the crossover off turn 4, and they're side by side at the stripe.
We're putting slide jobs on each other on pavement, Evan. Whoa, what a battle there. The 12-pound Ronald Williams digs back on the inside. Steele not giving up. He shoots to the outside. He's going to take the spot out of 2.
Into 3 and 4. Ryan Steele on the top. The 12 just doesn't have the grip. Ronald Williams going to drop back. Gets loose off 4. Give the 6th spot to Ryan Steele. Now looking on the inside for that 7th spot. Scott Kelly in the 11 is going to try to make his way around the 12 of Ronald Williams. Ronald Williams getting loose on that top side. These 2 cars are going to be side by side for this 7th position now going into turn number 3. Again, Kelly can't get it done for now. They're still side by side on 4, and the 12 is going to hang on.
12 car in the wall. 12 car drift up, hit the wall, still keeps it going straight, pulls it back out in front of the Scott Kelly. Ronald Williams still hanging on to that 7th spot. Seems to be losing ground. The 11 of Scott Kelly, he's in the 8th spot. He was the cause of the incident early on with Leela Wilson. He's digging deep and he's battling hard with the 12 coming out of 4.
And definitely on the front straightaway, I have to say that there might be issues with that 12 of Ronald Williams because he is extremely loose in the corners, and that's why he caught the wall. Scott Kelly took a look to the inside there and 1 or 2 couldn't get it done for now, down to back straightaway, but a car length off going back into turns number 3 and 4. 12 car again. Williams going to go all the way to the bottom and then slide up to the wall trying to get maximum grip, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold off that 11 for too long because that 11 definitely has a strong car as Ryan Steele now in the 6th position starts to pull away from those guys and starts to set his sights on the 5 of Kuhn Landry.
Definitely the 4 of Ryan Steele. He's within a half a car length of the number 5 Goodrich Service Plus car. That's Kuhn Landry. Ryan Steele looking to the inside, crossing the stripe, going to tuck back in line. He's going to try that outside-inside move going into turns 1 and 2. Steele drifts up. He's powering hard, looking on the high side out of 2, not going to get it done. He's within 1 car length of Kuhn Landry, entering 3. Steele closes in, tries to clip the apron, cannot get it done, drifts up a little bit, gets that strong run. He's tucked right up under the tail tank of Kuhn Landry. Again, going into 1 here. We are 15 laps to go this time by, Evan. We got a battle heating up for the 5th spot.
And speaking of that 7th spot behind them, about 2 laps ago, right when we took an eye on this battle with Landry and Steele, it was the 11 Scott Kelly put the slide job on the 12 of Ronald Williams. Ronald Williams knew he had a slower car, really didn't battle too hard for it. And that's now the 11 of Scott Kelly sitting in that 7th position, taking an eye still the 5 Kuhn Landry in front of Ryan Steele, trying to make something happen for the 5th position. These guys both 6 seconds behind your leader, and they're only about a second off of David Cumbo Jr. in the 4th position, but let's see if Ryan Steele can get this done. We know he has a fast car after suffering an incident that somehow he seems to always get himself in some trouble in the race. Always saves it, but he's just making it too hard on himself. He has a fast race car, so he might be hoping for a late race caution here if he wants to contend for the win, but right now he's going for that.
Coming up on 12 laps to go, this time by Alan Binder, still out front by 3/4 of a second over your second place points guy, about to take the points lead, Vinny Sansone. Your points leader, Fred Lampella, not here tonight. Tough night. He's going to have to use this as one of his drop weeks. From what I understand from the promoter, Eddie Walczyk, Fred Lampella, your points leader, he's dealing with some computer issues. Hopefully we'll see him back on the track here soon. Not a whole lot going on the track except for the battle for the 5th spot. Believe it or not, Evan, these guys are closing up on David Cumbo Jr. for the 4th spot as well. We may have a 3-car battle for the 4th spot here as we come up to this time by to complete lap number 40. That means 10 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely touched on that. They were about 7/10 off of that 6 of Cumbo for 4th, and they have caught right back up because it's the 5 of Landry, only about 3 or 4 car lengths off him going into turn number 1. Maybe some issue with that 6 car, can't get the grip there in the corners. He's going to slide up. Here comes the 5 of Landry, pulling in line going into turn 3. Oh, gets to get cut off. The 6 slices down on him. Now Ryan Steele looking to the inside of Landry. Now there goes Landry down on Cumbo Jr. Steele considering making it 3 wide. We're 2 wide going into 1. It's going to be Coon Landry picking up the spot, and there goes Ryan Steele also. So David Cumbo Jr. going to drop back to 6th.
Battle is on. 3-car battle. 8 laps to go. This time by Steele to the inside of Coon Landry. Landry shuts the door on Steele. Steele digging deep. Closes right back up on the tail tank. 8 laps to go. This time by Steele digging deep. Not going to get it done. Going into 1. Looking high. Coming. Slides. Oh, saves it.
Way loose.
What a save by Ryan Steele. David Cumbo Jr. right there on the tail tank.
Great
Don't
job
know
by
if
that
Steele's going to
6
have
not
enough
getting into
time.
him, too. That was close.
Definitely. 7 laps to go this time by. Don't know if Steele's going to have enough time to catch up to the 5 of Coon Landry. Landry set and sail right now, trying to run down the 3rd spot of Steve Linder, but not going to get it done. Not enough time left here in this short race at Iowa.
You mentioned your leader, Alan Binder, just came by to take lap 45. That means 6 laps to go. So if a caution were to come out after we complete 1 or 2 more laps, the race is going to be over. Alan Binder, the dominant car so far, started on the pole. He didn't even take any time in warm-up, and he's pretty much driving away, but not too much. Sansone's been consistently about 7/10 off, but that 2 just does not have anything for him to try to catch him. And then, again, Sansone 7/10 off. 3rd place is 3 seconds back being Steve Linder. So if Sansone wants any chance of going to victory lane, he's going to need to see a big mistake there from that 1 car in these closing laps.
5 laps to go this past time by. Coming up this time to make it 4 laps to go. Alan Binder's got control of this thing. All he needs to do is keep it straight for 4 more laps, and he'll put himself in victory lane for the 2nd straight week. It is very, very rare that Alan Binder ever makes a mistake. He completed 26 races in a row last season, Evan, without an incident point whatsoever. Alan Binder putting it right back on the bottom. Coming up this time by 3 laps to go. Not much happening right now on the racetrack. Ryan Steele doing his best in the 5th spot, trying to run down the 4th place car of Coon Landry. Petey Zeller is holding up Ryan Steele a little bit, getting into 1. Probably not going to have enough time left here as we are inside 3 laps to go. Alan Binder very, very smooth, maintaining that gap. It's 0.8 of a second back to the 2 car of Vinny Sansone. 2 fingers in the air. Alan Binder very, very smooth. One of the best drivers we've seen. He does have a test coming up with the Bobby East race team. That's why you see the Beast logo on the side of his race car. Bobby East, very big in pavement sprint car racing. White flag waving this time by Alan Binder. All he has to do is just put 1 more smooth lap on it, and he's got himself another victory in the Triple Crown Series. Alan Binder digging deep. He's driving it smooth, drifts right up to the wall. 1 more corner to go. Vinny Sansone's not going to have enough. Closed within a 10th closed with took a 10th out of Alan Bender. Alan Bender puts it up on the high side. Checker flag in the air. Your winner for this week here, second week in a row, is Alan Bender. In the second spot is going to be the number 2 car of Vinny Sansone. Outside pole sitter tonight, Steve Linder. He comes home third. Good job for him. Kuhn Landry, after that very spirited battle with Ryan Steele, he comes home in the 4th spot, and in the 5th spot is going to be the 4 car of Ryan Steele.
And I'll tell you that we nearly finished under a checkered yellow flag because sitting in that 9th spot at the end there in the closing laps, Leila Wilson made her way around the 7 of Ray Farlow. And something happened with that 7 car because the handling just went away drastically in the closing laps. And that 7 nearly put it in the wall several times. 4 on the last 2 laps. He was able to hang on, but he does drop back to the 10th position, being the 7 of Farlow.
Definitely, but we're going to be back here in just a few moments here. Going to gather our final thoughts here tonight at the Iowa Speedway. Alan Bender, the victor tonight. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be here right back after these commercial messages.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week. Plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll,
country radio, ETV live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
Welcome back to the Iowa Speedway. Short little battle tonight here, 50 laps at the Iowa Speedway. Alan Binder gets it done tonight, takes home the victory. He's 2 for 2 this season so far. One thing I want to point out right quickly before we get to final thoughts, Evan, Alan Binder has to run the table. He's already used up all 4 of his drop weeks. I believe we're completing week number 6 in the season. I'm telling you, Alan Binder has the pressure on him, cannot make a mistake all season long.
And definitely, he didn't make one tonight, and that's why he's in victory lane. He lost the 10th on Sandstone in that last lap, probably because he wanted to get to the checkered flag. But other than that, consistently running, if anything, the fastest laps all night long. And that's why that one car made it in victory lane, obviously deserving of that. We did see a caution earlier on in the race for a spin involving Lila Wilson. Good job by her to actually battle her way back up to a 9th place finishing position. Unfortunate that the 9 Denny Clark was caught up in that, so look for him to try to bounce back in upcoming races. But all in all, a great race out at the Iowa Speedway.
Evan, you had quite the interesting comment during the commercial break that Ryan Steele, definitely watching him the last couple of weeks here on Channel 1 with the Silver Crown and the Sprint cars. Tell us a little bit more about that interesting comment.
And definitely, one thing that I've noticed recently with Ryan Steele, he has such a fast race car in that number 4, but it seems like not necessarily from qualifying issues because he's qualifying about mid-pack, but he definitely has a top-running car week in and week out. The only thing that I'm noticing, and I said that I think he keeps beating himself, and we were commenting about it earlier on in the race, that he is just driving into that corner so hard for every position, which I love, but he overdrove it twice tonight, and that's why he nearly spun off 2, and he got real loose there in the closing laps also. And that's why I think he's in 5th spot. Otherwise, he'd be up there possibly in the top 3. So Ryan Steele, fast car, but maybe he's beating himself a little bit.
That may be the case. Let's give him a nickname, Ryan the Madman Steele. Steele driving with that madman mentality. Every corner counts no matter what. Great job by Ryan Steele to recover there. Hell of a battle with Kuhn Landry. My final thoughts for tonight, Evan. Alan Binder, great job by him, but he can't make a mistake. He's got to win every race here on out the rest of the season in order to take the sprint car portion of the Triple Crown.
And definitely, that's why if you looked at the points, you'd say, well, he's pretty much done for. But you mentioned you do have those drop weeks. And, I mean, I think you mentioned this is the 6th week. And if he's already used up his 4, then that's going to put a lot of pressure because you never know what can happen. Obviously, with this being simulation race, in real life gets in the way. If something were to occur, he could lose his chance at the good prize that he could get from winning this series and possibly getting a Triple Crown. So that's something to keep an eye on also, which puts a lot more unneeded pressure on his shoulders. He definitely has the car to do it, but it's just a matter of fact if he can get to the racetrack week in and week out.
Definitely, and we do have Ryan the Madman Steele. Ryan, we're giving you the nickname the Madman just because of your pure driving style. All the flash and flare that you can throw into the corner, you're sure as hell doing it. Ryan, tell us a little bit about just how hard you were driving that car tonight.
Oh, Madman, huh? That's a good one. Alan Binder is just so freaking fast that to keep up, you have to drive like a madman. He's just dragging us all around. I don't think anyone ever can get to him. And, that little bit of a draft effect perhaps for this on this particular track, since you're not really braking for the corners, or at least I am not. Maybe I'm just a madman. But if you can keep up right behind him, you can go just about as fast. But as soon as you lose him, you're losing a tenth, 2/10 per lap. And I wasn't that fast. I was not fourth place fast. I just happened to be lucky enough to be sitting there. And I was doing everything I could to stay there. And I got to the point on lap 20 or whatever it was where I started to break loose, and I said, nope, keep the foot down. If you don't keep the foot down, you're not going to stay there. And, well, I didn't manage to hang on to it, but it was a decent run for me. I was happy to finish where I got.
Definitely, and Ryan, that madman driving style definitely showcased here over the last couple of weeks here on ETV Live. Ryan, I got to tell you, it's been a pleasure to watch you race, and just the spirit with which you race with is just another interesting element here to the Triple Crown Series. What are your thoughts? Can you think Alan Binder, can he win out the rest of the way in order to take the sprint car portion of the Triple Crown?
Yes, no question. I think he's done similar before, actually.
I believe at one point he's won, 9 straight titles now in the sprint car?
Yeah, I think it's something like 8, so 2 years straight of not being beat. I think last season he only raced 8 weeks and made up all the distance at the end of the season. So if he wants to do it, if he wants to actually go for it, he can do it all anytime he wants.
Something to keep in mind, Ryan. Alan Binder last night, I got word from the promoter, Eddie Walczyk. He is the guy behind Double Clutch Marketing who is sponsoring the Triple Crown Series here on ETV Live. Eddie pointed out to me that Alan sent him a text saying that he stepped on it pretty big last night at Iowa. Just goes to show anything can happen.
It sure can. I mean, like I was saying, I didn't expect to run as well as I did. So, if I had managed to hang on to it, I could have perhaps battled with Steve Linder. I don't think I would have been battling Sansone or Binder there, but, I could have gone for third maybe. But, talk about exciting. I wish you guys were covering the Silver Crown race that's about to start up in a few minutes, because we're fixing to have a good one in that. We've been having good races all week there.
Definitely, but what can you preview for us here? Next race in the Silver Crown car is going to be 2 weeks at Phoenix. Give us a little bit of preview of what we'll see here in 2 weeks here on ETV Live.
Well, I don't really know. Things have changed a little bit this season. There's a few new names that are doing well. It used to be that Vinny Sansone, the only person that could touch him was Brandon Buckberger. Just last season, that was the way it worked. And now we got Jeffrey Mays and Paul Williams there in particular. He's doing really good. And guys like Thomas Wargola and Brett Reynolds and Ian Seeley can actually do well enough to win on a given week. So that's why we're having all this exciting races in the Silver Crown, because we've got lots of good guys in there right now.
Definitely. Ryan, before we let you go tonight, why don't you throw out your sponsors, anybody that you're hooked up with, give them a shout out here.
All right, thank you. Blue Hell Productions is my primary sponsor on this car. We make free FPS games based off the Command & Conquer series at BlueHellProductions.com. You can just pick them up and join me on the battlefield. And that's all it. Thank you.
That's Ryan the Madman Steele. Ryan doing a hell of a job trying to keep his car going straight here at the Iowa Speedway. Finishes fifth tonight in the sprint car. Good luck to you, Ryan. Hope you do well in your Silver Crown race.
All right, thank you. Thanks you guys for covering these things. You guys are really entertaining.
Thanks for the compliment, Ryan. Evan, I just want to point out to you, the Silver Crown traditionally the most exciting racing we've seen here in the Triple Crown Series. Definitely next week we're going to be broadcasting on Wednesday covering the Tour Mods at New Hampshire, but then the week following, what I've just brought up with Ryan Steele, is in 2 weeks we'll be watching the Silver Crowns running at Phoenix. Silver Crowns definitely on the draft tracks, definitely really tend to be that style of race where we see guys like Ryan Steele, Paul Williams, everybody who's up front in points in the Silver Crown Series, waiting to the last 5 laps, building that drama and just making such an exciting race. Evan, what are your thoughts on that?
Definitely looking forward to it. Even next week's race, I mean, they should all be good. And the racing style that we're consistently seeing in this USTRA double clutch, the short track racing series here on ETV, it's very similar to the racing that we're seeing, but they're all exciting in the way because we've seen battles. I mean, up front, the leader had a 1/7 of a second lead all night long, but like people like Ryan Steele and drivers back into 8th and 9th position were battling hard throughout the entire race, and that's why I'm also looking forward to Phoenix. You also mentioned in particular that should be a good track for those Silver Crowns also.
Definitely, and just want to point out special thanks to Eddie Walczyk, Double Clutch Marketing. For those that want to find out more about Double Clutch Marketing, go to www.doubleclutchinc.com to find out more about what Eddie Walczyk does, and definitely a special guy. Does a lot to promote these short track events here. Eddie Walczyk, hell of a job trying to put this on. USTRA is his organization that just works very hard behind the scenes to put together special deals like we have here, the Triple Crown Series. Most exciting racing I've seen on the short tracks in quite some time. And Evan Pasoko, great job tonight. John Wessling on the cameras did a hell of a job tonight. My name is Justin Rosenau. We will see you next week in the Tour Mods on Wednesday night at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Good night, everybody.